Today we're gonna make these adorable Easter blossoms, peanut butter cookies with Easter colors. To get started on making our Easter blossoms, we're gonna first start with our peanut butter, butter, and sugars. So we're gonna do 3/4 cup of peanut butter. So measure this out here. You can use any peanut butter favorite brand. So we have our peanut butter, and now I'm gonna mix in our sugars, 1/2 cup of sugar, 1/2 cup of brown sugar, and 1/2 cup of butter. Room temperature. I've melted a little bit. Now we're gonna whisk this together, blend this together with the hand mixer till it's nice and creamy. One egg and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I make these cookies all year long. I have them on my site for Christmas. I'll make them just any time of the year, but then for Easter, we're gonna do a nice little twist and make them for our Easter blossoms. I'm gonna mix this in. Now we're gonna add our dry ingredients. So we have our flour. We're gonna do 1 teaspoon of baking soda and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And now we'll slowly add that to our mixture. So now I'm gonna take this dough, and I'm gonna make sure this is all nice and well combined, and we're gonna actually put this in the refrigerator. You could do it overnight, but you need to at least put it in the fridge for about 40 minutes so it gets set before we roll them into cookies. So I've taken the dough out of the fridge. I have all different fun Easter colors of sanding sugar so that we're gonna roll our cookies in. So I'm gonna do balls in about 1 inch, and I'm gonna then roll it in sanding sugar. We'll put that right on the tray. I've taken them out of the oven, about 12 minutes in there. Let it cool for a minute or two. You don't want them to be super hot when we put our Hershey Kisses in, but I've let them cool for a minute now, so I'm gonna carefully press them down. Look how beautiful this orange color is for Easter. It's so cute, colorful. I love the pink as well. Our beautiful Easter blossoms are ready to eat. I can't wait to dig in. For the full recipe, visit nikkigleckis.com, and don't forget, like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, and check out my Amazon store where you can purchase my must-haves. To get started on making our perfect red Greek Easter eggs, we are going to start with brown eggs, which is my little secret of making them really, really red. And what we're gonna do is we are gonna just hard boil these by boiling some water. I'm gonna do about 1/2 pot of water for about 12 eggs today. And I'm gonna get that to a rolling boil. And then once that comes to a boil, I'm just gonna lower the heat and carefully put my eggs in so that we can get them hard boiled, and then we're gonna get the dye ready. So I'm just gonna carefully put these in. So it's a little different when we were growing up. If you are Greek Orthodox, you would traditionally dye eggs on a specific day of Holy Week. So you would dye these on Holy Thursday, and it wasn't always that fun, different color pastels. We really just used the red eggs. So the dye that I'm gonna show you today, you'll actually be able to boil and dye up to 30 eggs. But today I'm just gonna do 12. And I'll have that recipe online for you. And carefully put these in. I don't wanna crack any. If you do, by chance, crack one of the eggs, you'll see that the egg yolks are gonna be coming out. Just take that one out so that it doesn't mess up the rest of your eggs. So it's been about 15 minutes. Our eggs are hard boiled, and I'm gonna show you a little trick if you wanna really make sure that they are completely hard boiled before we put them in the cold water bath. So here is a non-hard boiled egg. I can hear the yolk moving. I'm gonna spin that so you can see that it's kind of slow spinning, a little wonky there. So I'm gonna take one of them out from our hard boiled water here. If it spins really fast like that, then you know it's really hard boiled and they are ready to get dyed. So that's my little trick. If you want to do that with the kids, you can also shake it a little and you can hear that they're completely hard boiled. This is some cold water that I'm actually gonna add a little bit of ice to it. By adding hard-boiled eggs to cold water, they're gonna make sure that the shell does not stick to the yolk when you go to crack them. But two, this will also, once they're cool, will help the dye absorb to the egg itself. So I'm gonna take these out carefully. I'm using a spoon that has some slits so that I don't get hot water all over the place. Put them in there. And once I put them in the cold water bath, then we'll get our dye ready. So I've gotten all my eggs out of the hot water. They're in a cold water bath, and now we're gonna get our dye ready. So now that I have this perfectly hot water sitting in this pot, I'm actually gonna just use this water and add my red dye to this and my vinegar so that I can use the same pot for dyeing the eggs. So you'll need enough water to cover the eggs, which I know that I have in this pot. We're gonna use, run your faucet and get some water nice and hot, put it in a full glass, and we're gonna dissolve this, very important, this Greek red Easter dye. You can buy this online or at a local Greek market if you have one near you. So this dye is very potent, and this one particularly will dye up to 30 Easter eggs, which is really important if you're having your whole big Greek family coming over for Easter. So you're just gonna, I'm gonna cut this and dissolve it into this hot water, but I do wanna tell you that it's it will stain your counter or your clothes, so please really be careful. This is not a step that you would wanna do with kids. You could even wear gloves if you feel like you don't wanna get it on your fingers. I've done this enough times that I think that I could do it without gloves, but if you have them near you, you should try that. So I'm just gonna cut the top and dissolve that right into the water. And it's gonna be this really deep red color. Put that in there. So I'm dissolving this right in the hot water, just giving it a little stir to make sure that it's all dissolved. And now I'm gonna add this right to the hot water. So another trick, look at that for the glass. It will come off, but I'm using a metal spoon, not a wooden spoon, so that it doesn't dye the wooden spoon, because that would definitely absorb the color. So I'm giving this a nice stir. You don't have to put the heat back up since the water had already boiled. So I'm gonna give that a nice stir. I'm actually gonna use this glass to store my spoon while I'm getting the dye ready. And then the next step is I'm adding 1 cup of white vinegar. This is a really important step because this is what's gonna help absorb the color. Look, I got it on my fingers already. Absorb the color to the eggs. So I'm gonna add that in and stir that. Again, you wanna really make sure that the dye is well absorbed in the water before we add in our cold eggs. Another tip, if you have a magic eraser, keep that on hand, because if you get a little bit of the dye on your white countertops like I did, I'm gonna spray this and use a magic eraser to get that off. So that's my other tip. Okay, our dye is ready. I'm just gonna wash my hands and then we're gonna get the eggs into the dye. I have the red dye ready, and I'm gonna carefully take our cold eggs. You need to let them sit in the cold water for at least 5 to 10 minutes so that they're nice and cold to touch. So I'm gonna just air dry that. Put on my spoon and drop them in the water carefully. And they're just gonna sit in the dye for about 5 minutes. So again, this dye in this pot, if you wanted to dye, 12 eggs now and dye some more later, you can just leave this dye on the pot and reuse it later. You don't have to do all the eggs at the same time. So our eggs have been in there for about 5 minutes. I'm gonna take some paper towels, really important. You don't want the dye to stain any of your plates or anything, so I'm just gonna put some paper towels down on a platter and remove the eggs. I can't wait to see the red color. Moment of truth, we have red. So we're gonna take these out. I'm gonna put them down. Look at that red color, so pretty. I'm gonna pour these down here and we're gonna let them dry on the paper towel, and then we're gonna shine them up with some olive oil so that they can be nice and shiny. Notice I'm being super careful so that I don't get this on my clothes. Growing up, it was so important that you had red eggs. If you use a white egg, you're gonna see that sometimes it's not gonna come that really deep red color, and also the vinegar is really a key component in getting them really nice and red. So I've taken them out of our dye, and I'm gonna leave the dye here just in case I wanna boil some more or dye some more eggs later. So I'm gonna keep that over here. And our eggs are ready for shining. So I have the eggs on the paper towels to really dry them. And again, I don't wanna stain my fingers, so I'm just gonna take a paper towel just to move it around to make sure that they're completely dry. And I'm gonna pick it up like this. So you can see now the egg is really nice and dried. So I'm gonna put them here, make sure they're all dry, and then I'm gonna polish them to make them nice and shiny. And if you get it on your fingers, just wash your hands with soap right away and it'll come off. And then I'm just gonna take my paper towel. I have a little oil in here. I'm just gonna dip that in. Just gonna shine them up. So not only does this really, the oil will get them nice and shiny and look so beautiful, but also it's gonna help make sure that the dye is not gonna come off on your fingers or your platter when you put them in a bowl to serve them. We're gonna shine these up, and if you were making them during Holy Week, on Holy Thursday, another tip would be keep your egg carton that you put them in before, and then you could place them in your egg carton, easily store them in your fridge. That's always something that we used to do when we were younger, because if you're dyeing a couple dozen eggs, it's kind of hard to store in your fridge. So I'm just gonna put them in my platter here, in my nice little bowl, and stick them in the fridge. Our eggs are ready, and Nicholas and I are gonna find our winning egg so that we can play our traditional Greek game. So you find your egg first. You think that's the winner? All right. Ready? I beat you, I won. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. For the full recipe, visit nikkigleckis.com. We wish you all a very happy Easter. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Happy Easter. Today we are gonna make Koulourakia, traditional Greek butter cookies, but I'm gonna add an Easter twist. To get started making our Koulourakia, I'm gonna use a hand mixer, but you could also use a stand mixer to mix this easily as well. So we're gonna get started with 2 sticks of butter, keep them out so they're nice and soft, room temperature, 1.5 cups of sugar. I have measured out 6.5 cups of flour, 3 teaspoons of baking powder, 4 eggs, 1/2 cup of orange juice, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and I have an egg yolk and some water so that I can make an egg wash. And then we also have our fun food coloring so we could dye our dough before we get rolling. So I'm gonna get started. I like to use my hands at the end with the flour, so I'm gonna take off my rings. I'm gonna have our room temperature butter, 2 sticks, that in the bowl. And I'm gonna cream this up first. So now that we've creamed the butter, we're gonna add in our sugar. So 1½ cups of sugar, put that in there. Next, we're gonna add a teaspoon of vanilla. Forgot to tell you that in the beginning. We'll put that in there. Mix that up. Next, we're gonna add our baking soda to our orange juice, which it's going to fizzle up. See that? Fun little science experiment. And we're gonna add that to our mixture. Now I'm gonna add our eggs, one at a time. So we've combined all our wet ingredients, and now we're gonna add in our flour. I'm gonna add our baking powder right to our flour mixture. Now we're gonna add in our remaining dry ingredients, our flour. I'm gonna slowly add this. So when I was looking at my yaya's recipe, she writes, add flour until it's not sticky anymore, which is what a normal recipe would be like in Greece. So I've really done this many times so that I can measure out the 6½ cups for you guys. So we're gonna add this slow. One more. I've added in almost all my flour, and now I'm gonna actually hand mix the rest. So I'm gonna ask Zoe to come in to help me. When I was younger, my yaya always did this with her hand. And that's really when she would tell me when there was enough flour, because once it wasn't sticking to her hand, she would say, stop. So now that we have our flour on this, I can show you that you can really feel that the mixture is not sticking to all my fingers, and now we know it's ready. Take this out onto the cutting board so that you guys can see. I'm gonna need this a little bit more. Okay, so now our dough is really ready. If we were gonna make just regular traditional Koulourakia, then you would just put this dough, wrap it in some saran wrap or in a Ziploc bag, refrigerate it for at least 2 hours before you get rolling. But today, we're gonna do a fun part, and we're gonna dye the dough different Easter colors so that we can roll out Easter Koulourakia. So Zoe's really good at this. So Zoe, you wanna grab some gloves so you can help me? We've done this a bunch of times, so Zoe's gotten really good at this, so that's why I've asked her to help me. So I'm gonna cut this into 4 parts because we've picked out 4 fun Easter colors, but you could do whatever colors you want. And I don't recommend doing this with little kids, this part, because it really will dye your hands. So Zoe's gonna help me with this. So I have, you ready? I know, you're really good at this, Zoe. You wanna start with purple? Okay. I'm gonna put some gloves on and I'll start with the color too. So we're gonna dye these parts of our dough, put them in a Ziploc bag, and then refrigerate them for about 2 hours, and then we'll get ready to roll them out. Don't get it on your clothes. This is a really different variation of Koulourakia that we didn't do when I was younger, so this is our new tradition, Zoe. Green looks good to me, nice and even. I'm gonna leave this one here. I'm gonna take off my gloves and wipe this portion of my cutting board so that I can do the next color. So now we've changed our gloves and we're gonna do the next two colors. Zoe's doing an orange and I'm gonna do pink. If you were dyeing, if you wanted to dye the whole dough one color, you can just put it in a stand mixer and add the color of the dye right to the dough, and that could also mix it for you. We have successfully dyed our 4 colors of our dough. I'm gonna put these in Ziploc bags, their own Ziploc bags, put them in the fridge for 2 hours, and then I'm gonna ask some of my younger children to come help me roll them out into traditional shapes for Easter. It's been 2 hours. I pulled the dough out of the refrigerator and we are ready to roll. So I have Christina and Nicholas here to help me. This will be a really fun Easter project. To get started, we are gonna preheat the oven, 350 degrees, and I'm gonna use these ungreased baking sheets, or you could also use parchment paper if you like. So I'm gonna show you a traditional way of rolling. So I'm gonna get Nicholas and Christina started. I have 1 pan for each color. It's about a 1-inch ball of dough that you're gonna need, and we're gonna roll it out evenly till about 9 inches. So I've done this long enough and fast enough that I know exactly how to roll it out, but I'm gonna show you a measurement, a visual on the pan for you to know. So once you roll it out to about 9 inches, like that, we're gonna fold it in half and we're gonna twist 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And that is a traditional way of rolling a cookie. This is about how much you need, and then 9 inches is about this much of the pan. So if you can roll out evenly like that, then you can put them onto this pan, okay? So this one is for you. You're gonna do the pink. Nichols, that's good. Christina, you wanna get started on orange? Okay. I think this is a good amount for you. And you can roll it out again, honey, about this long. Try to do that. And then tell me when you're ready and I'll show you how to do the next part, which is folding it in half. Yep, very good. In half like this. And now twist 3 times. You got it? 1, 2, 3, perfect. That's awesome, good job. You can make this dough ahead of time, and if you have some cousins coming over and you want them to have a little project to do, this would be fun for them too. So you could put these pretty close together. They're not gonna puff up that much. That's why you don't wanna use too much of the dough. That's what I'm saying about perfect. That looks great. About 1-inch balls. If you use too much dough, they will puff up too much, but who cares? You just wanna make sure that these are delicious cookies. It's fun, it's a great activity. And we're gonna put some egg wash before you put them in the oven. Sure. We'll put egg wash on top with a little sprinkles before you put them in the oven for a really fun, festive Easter treat. Yeah, that looks great. Should we do a race? Who's gonna finish first? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I'm pretty sure Christina's in the lead. No. I'm twisting my green ones. I really won the race, but Nicholas thinks he did. So you guys have to get rolling there. Once you finish rolling out a pan of your cookies, we're gonna do an egg wash. For the egg wash, you need 1 egg yolk and 2 tablespoons of water. I'm gonna whisk that together. Put a little egg wash on each cookie, just a tiny bit so that it golden browns the top. And we're gonna put some festive sprinkles. Traditionally, we would put sesame seeds, but for these Easter ones, we're gonna use some colorful sprinkles. Okay, so my normal tray of cookies is ready to go in the oven. I put the green in the oven and I'm gonna help these kids try to finish rolling all of these, and I'll see you when all the cookies are finished. don't dye the dough for Easter or any other holiday, this is how traditional Koulourakia would look. Thank you so much for watching. For the full recipe, visit nikkiklekis.com and don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.
Ой, ну-ка, бабушка, что?